few more questions before we end our interview. How would one know it can work for them? Who's a candidate? Who wouldn't be? Does it work for everyone? And why doesn't it work for everybody? Can you talk a little bit about that?
You'll know pretty quickly within a short period of time, but I think, one of the things is that the person has to be willing, to go inside, to take the time to look.
All right.
But it isn't as hard as you think today. I mean, today, in the beginning, it was much more difficult to understand all that was going on, but they just have to be able to embrace, trust, get in little by little. Now, like I said, somebody that's in severe pain, you can only bring up a certain amount of sensation.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you actually have to learn how to distract them in a positive way to shift attention. But I don't know. There's very few people that I don't think that could benefit. It's quite amazing, unless, like I said, they're really serious end-stage diseases, and that is left for a whole different area. But people that are still searching, or they've seen many physicians and they haven't had any answers. We love those cases, the hard cases, because almost inevitably it turns out that there's some kind of major re-regulation, and for them life becomes such a shift if you can just give them some relief from the suffering, right? So, and you don't know until you try, and then we have to see, of course, we have to scan them, we have to examine them, we have to see which are the best candidates, right, for that.
Okay.
And sure, there's like John Sarno, who had sort of revolutionized the idea of back pain, said, these people are screened, they're scanned, and you know what? He has an amazing success rate, but 85% of the patients, he says, don't want to agree with his scenario that most of their pain and suffering has to do with something inside their brain, inside their head, and not inside their body or their back. That's a really different perspective, and that their personality, the suppression of feelings, emotions, and all those things get expressed and cause these pain reactions. That's a huge thing.
That is big.
And it's really hard for somebody to say, hey, listen, my doctor told me I got a disc there, I got a bulge there, and that you're saying that that's not really where the source of the pain. Well, lo and behold, it turns to be true for the ones that accept it, the ones that don't. So you're saying, well, how can you work with somebody that doesn't accept it?
Exactly.
But what's unique about Unified, you can open a doorway to an experience that is so unique and so pleasant and so life-changing that when they have that experience, they're like, wow, what was that? And so you want them to be able to say, take more of what was that. Now, as they go through what was that, they're going to see all of it, the good, the bad, the dark, the light, but they realize something very powerful is going on. Something that is at the essence of everything good in a human being. Where is the goodness? Where is the transformation? Where do the great works of art? Where do the great scientific progressions come? Where do those really great progressions in the human development come from? They're internal. There's something happens inside somebody. A switch goes on and pop, and it opens up. And the same thing happens when people are in pain and suffering. So it's like where the great ideas come from, also healing comes from. They're very much interwoven. But now to be able to understand it, to reproduce it, and of course to find more and more people on the outside that are supportive. We never not work in our office in some way with somebody from the mental health that also is knowledgeable about trauma, is knowledgeable about stress, is knowledgeable about mindfulness, right? Because if you're trying to deal with a person's problem simple through just talking alone, it's marginally, I repeat, marginally effective, some places more than others. But if you understand how to interact it at a deeper level by addressing physiology, biology, and the psyche, we're open a whole new direction. Now, but the two of them exist separately. Pain specialists don't necessarily engage mental health people, and mental health people don't necessarily engage pain people. And if they were put together in a different way, right, and each of them knew each other's thing and they could support it, a revolution in the way pain is expressed, especially when we realize more and more that the biggest complaint is this chronic pain, that's pain that's lasting more than 3 or 4 months. It's in your head. And when you do an MRI, it lights up. Guess what lights up? Places that have to do with emotion and places that have to do with memory. You're like, what does that have to do? Well, and it's things like even the nucleus accumbens, what has to do with addiction, the frontal cortex, the nuclear accumbens. It's like they're focused on the wrong thing. It's like the frontal cortex isn't focused on the way out, it's focused on the pain. And how many people in our life do we know that, like that? How many people do that all they see is the bad, all they see is the pain. And they don't know any other way. And if you check their life a lot of times, it's been pretty painful. What's so special is that we can finally give people a way out of it. There's a whole range of feelings that they never experienced before. That is mind-boggling, that somebody can feel incredible deep states of joy, peace, connectedness, a universal sense of gratitude. Even though there's still some discomfort or pain, they begin to feel things that they never experienced. And they're worth more than anything else in their life because they never had it. Maybe they never had the mother, and they never had the father, and they never had that situation. But that people could spontaneously generate feelings of an extraordinary, incredible sense of love and an inner knowing, right? And so in meditation, the highest states, right? And I've had some experience with different teachers and gurus and stuff. It's like they were able to generate a state that transcended everything else. But it doesn't have to be involved with just some mystical practice, right? You don't have to do that. They think they have to do that because that's somewhat looks like the person that got it did that. He breathed, he sat in a cave, he spun around 3 times, he chanted. But the truth of the matter is that experience is there at any given moment. So if we just stop, we start to focus, we start to feel, and we start to embrace what's going on, our worlds take a very different turn.